Okay, so for this new part, there's actually different forms these things can be in. We have been specifically working with equations that have been in standard form, or ax squared plus bx plus c. So standard form is the most common form for quadratics to be in. There's another type of form that they can be in called vertex form. Vertex form is more helpful in graphing because it's actually easier to find the vertex than doing negative b over 2a. And we're going to see that here. So our goal right now is we're going to be able to find the vertex from the vertex form. So let's take an example. As you can see, this thing is in vertex form because it has a parentheses and everything in the parentheses is squared. And if you think about the vertex, it's either it's normally the largest point or the smallest point. So when you're thinking about the smallest point for this thing would be whenever this middle term, or that parentheses, is equal to 0. Because if that's equal to 0, that's as small as this thing can get because it's squared and it could never be negative. And the negative 1 is just going to stay negative 1. So the smallest inside the parentheses could ever get, or right there, would be 0. So that's what we're focused on, is what would make that 0. In this case, what would make that 0 would be x equals positive 1. That would make that inside part 0. So my vertex, my x would be 1. Then, to find my y point, all I would do is take that and plug it into there. So I'd get negative 2 times 1 minus 1 squared minus 1. Which when you solve this, you get 0 squared times negative 2 minus 1, and you just end up getting negative 1. Let's do a second example. So in the second example, as you can see, again, we're going to have the same goal. We want that middle part to become 0. And so what would make that middle part 0? Well, x being 2 would make that 0. Because negative 2 plus 2 makes that thing go to 0. So since I know that would make that 0, that's going to be the first part of my vertex. Then we're going to plug in negative 2 into here to see what answer we'd get. So when I plug in negative 2 in there, I would have parentheses negative 2 plus 2 squared plus 2. Well, this part gives me 0 squared, and 0 squared plus 2 is just 2. So my vertex point would be negative 2, comma 2.